If you remember, 3 months ago, we created a video called How to Plan a Trip in 2021. Today, we will be more specific and we will be talking about common mistakes London tourists and visitors make when they visit. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Thia, but everyone calls me Thia, and so can you. I am your wellness and lifestyle travel expert at Thia's Travel Services. If you have not already subscribed, please go ahead and do so. Get to turn on your notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our weekly videos. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. The first mistake is taking a day trip from London to Paris. I wouldn't suggest anyone makes that type of trip if their main mission is to explore Paris. Bearing in mind that the train ride takes more than 2.5 hours both ways. Not to forget the distance between each train platform, plus unforeseen circumstances like delays. Doing that, then you have wasted an entire day doing nothing on your itinerary. And I believe visiting Paris warrants a few days because there is so much there to see. So much. The next mistake is planning too many activities in one day. I would recommend, like I've always done and in past videos, 2 to 3 activities to do each day. And allow yourself the time to enjoy and explore them, and then give yourself the opportunity to do spontaneous things in between. Tell you something, not having anything planned is not a deal breaker. Anyone who has been to London knows that the city is very big, and if you don't plan your itinerary, you might find yourself going back and forth. And when you go, make sure to take your to-do list, a map. That's always a good idea. Or, use Google Maps. That comes in very handy these days. It's on your phone. And plan your activities by area or what is closest, together. So you do not find yourself losing time as you're trying to get to other places. The next one is not staying long enough. I have had clients who traveled to London say they wish they had stayed longer. Again, there is so much to do in London that honestly, you do need to be there long enough to see what you really plan to see. We noticed that tourists or visitors only focus on seeing the tourist-centered areas without exploring local areas and getting to know the people and the culture. We suggest that if you want to enjoy the city, branch out of the main touristy areas so you can experience the locals, so you get a more interesting experience. Not having data on your phone. Oh dear. London is not like a lot of other countries that have Wi-Fi in different areas and connect as you go. But if you go into a cafe or restaurant, you might get access to Wi-Fi, and that's only for just the time that you are there. So we recommend you have data on your phone. There are a few ways you can go about getting data on your phone. For instance, buying a UK SIM card. That would help you. And you can just top it up as you go. We also find out that taking bags on the tube station, that's a huge mistake. And that's huge because if you don't find out which train station have elevators, remember, and not all tube stations have lifts or escalators either. So you might end up dragging your luggages on stairs and through train platforms, which obviously can be very difficult. For your information, there is an avoiding steps travel tube guide that I would link in the description, and you can check to see if your tube station is included, and if it's not, then we suggest considering other means of transportation like a taxi or maybe an Uber. Another thing we found out is staying in central London if you're on a budget. Why do you want to stay in central London if you're on a budget? First things first, this will cost you a lot of money, and you can save yourself that extra cost by moving out of the tourist areas to get better deals for hotels. And be careful not to book your hotel stay too far away from the city. Take you a long time to travel to and fro. Here again, we suggest using Google Maps to help you determine the distance, or the better option will be to use a travel expert like me. Got some comments about people being afraid to use public transportation system, or maybe being nervous. I have heard people say that they use taxis a lot because they were very nervous about getting. They only found out how easy it was to use it too. They're on their last days in London. If you don't mind spending a lot of money and sitting in traffic, it's totally fine. But I promise you that after you make a few trips on the public transportation, you will realize how simple and easy it is, and the nervousness will disappear. We'll also add, City Mapper app in the description to help you. Not researching good food spots. Do your research on good food spots, and that's because once you are there, you'll find a lot of places to go and eat in, and you might not like them. And especially when you are in the main tourist area, it can be very hard to find good food and good drinks. We suggest you do your research. Taking the tube at rush hour. That is not fun at all. If you can avoid taking the tube at rush hour, then please do so, because it gets very crowded and overwhelming. Rush hour times typically starts from 7:30 to 9:30 a.m. and resumes again at 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. But if you have to do it, make sure you give yourself extra time for wherever you need to go. Or if you are just a couple of stops away from the destination you're aiming to go, then we recommend walking. At least that will give you that extra sightseeing option. Oyster Cards do not work outside London. Oyster Cards can only be used specifically for London transportation systems, and also for overground trains that are within the zone systems. If you're going outside the city, you will need to buy a paper ticket. If you need to buy a paper ticket, we have added a link in description with FAQs on Oyster Card, so you don't miss out on how it works. Okay, this might come across a little bit funny, but it is the truth. When you are on the escalator in London, stand on the left when you are on the escalator. And if you're walking down, walk on the left and stand on the right. And that is, if you do not do that, you will probably get a Londoner say a little "excuse me." Not trying different cuisines. You should try British foods while you're in London. I can't just imagine not, The beauty of the city of London is that it is very rich in different cuisines. Our recommendation will be for you to research on restaurants serving meals that you would never be able to get in your home country. Exchanging cash in London. I recommend using your credit card to get British pounds, or just walk into a bank. Yes, I know they would ask to make sure that, if you don't have an account there, but once you tell them you're a tourist, I'm sure they'll be happy to help you. My son just came back from London, and he had some British money. He had some British coins that we kept, and they were old. He went into a bank and they changed it for him. So that works. Another thing is not checking operating hours. I have heard tourists say that they did not check a business operating hour. It is totally understandable because you're on vacation. Who cares about time and opening times? We recommend you check in the business website for the operating hours to make sure that you do not go on the day it's closed, or a day that it closes early. Planning too much on your first day. With all the excitement that we have, we just want to start seeing things, you know. But we suggest that you only have one thing planned so you keep yourself awake to help you get adjusted to London time. Don't plan anything that you might miss in case your flight is delayed or, again, unforeseen circumstances do occur. So we want to be mindful about that too. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any comments, please leave them in the comments below. We'll be so glad to read about them. Once again, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video because I'm sure it's going to help somebody else. And until then, how is your soul doing?